Hello friends, SentinalhMC here. Welcome back to our ChromatiCraft tutorial series. So in the previous episode, we looked at these power crystals and how you could use them to drastically increase the recharge speed of pylons if you're drawing so much power off of them that you're draining them, and then it's just not keeping up. I mean, you can either just constantly go out and look for more pylons, but then that leads to extremely long distance pylons, which will lead to signal attenuation. The power shows up more slowly. So what you'd really like to do is boost the output of your pylons. Well, once you get to this point where you've got the power crystals around it, maybe you've also used the lower level option of planting some matching colored trees around it and stuff, done everything you can to boost it. There is one additional thing that you can do, or at least one that I know of, to get even more power out of these pylons. It's very high level, very end game. It's extremely expensive. But today we're going to take a look at Pylon turbocharging. Now, if you've watched our Revolution series, you'll know that Shiva and I have done this in our world, and it's pretty spectacular. So let's get into it. We'll see how to craft everything. It's very expensive, but it is very spectacular to watch and very cool. Again, this is very end game, but it's so fun. I've got to cover it. Alright, so you're going to need a lot of resources to do this because of how expensive it is. One of the things you're going to need a lot of is this stuff, Luma Dust. It looks like this. You're going to need a metric ton of it because you're going to have to create these things called radiant shards. Okay, this comes from glowing rock, which looks like this. Spawns in the world somewhere. I'm not sure of the specific spawn location of this stuff. It looks like it's part of normal stone, but this may only spawn in specific biomes, or it may spawn just very rarely. Once I get clarification, we'll have it in the comments so that you'll know this video, and in the description so you'll know exactly where this spawns. If you know where it spawns, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Anyway, when you break glowing rock, you're going to get Luma Dust. Let me go ahead and grab a low-level tool so that we can unenchant, just so that we can see how much you're going to get. Oops, I'm in creative mode, like an idiot. Okay, now we're in survival mode. We'll go ahead and pick this block, and look, we get one piece. Oh, I got a lot more out of that one. Let's go ahead and chuck our Luma Dust out so we can see exactly how much we got. So the first one we got 1. This one we actually got, wow, 17. Wait, which pick did I use for that? Did I use my normal pick, or did I use my enchanted one? Because what I'm trying to get across is that you really want to use a pick with looting to get this stuff. So this one has Fortune 10, I mean Fortune, not looting. So with Fortune 10 from the Chromatic Enchanter, I get 32 Luma Dust from one block, rather than what appeared to be 1 before. So let's go ahead and pick this with my standard pick and see. Okay, so you do actually have a chance to get more than 1 from a standard pick. I got like, what, 5 from that? But yeah, definitely get yourself a pick with Fortune. Use the Chromatic Enchanter to get Fortune 10 so that you can get a heck of a lot more Luma Dust out of that glowing rock. You're gonna thank yourself when you go to craft this stuff. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna need, if we go all the way over past multi-block casting, past pylon casting to the end game section, we can find the energy focal point. These are the things we actually need in order to turbocharge a pylon, and you need more than one. You're going to need, let's take a look, 8. You need 8 of these. They're very expensive. Let's get into crafting mode again. So you need 8 of these. For that, it actually seems to craft in lots of 9 actually. So, okay, so you can just craft this recipe once and get enough to turbocharge 1 pylon. That's very useful. If you had to craft each of these individually, this recipe would be even more expensive. You need a lot of runes set up in order to do it, although this central ring of runes should already be there by now, and if you've been doing a lot of casting, you're probably going to have most, if not all, of these runes already in place. If you need to set this up, just pause the video here, take a look at this. These are all Y-1. They're all 1 block below the casting table, so they're all in the floor. You'll need the standard ring of runes in the standard arrangement around the center. You'll need Kuro runes in each of the cardinal directions, and then these little arrangements of 3 runes in each of these corners. There's other recipes that will utilize various ones of these, so it may already be there. Go ahead and check your rune setup, make sure you have it. Okay, in order to craft this, we need a couple of things. Okay, the first thing that we need in the center is the Lumen Core. We're going to take a look at how to craft that in a second. Most of these resources we've already talked about. So you're going to need 4 crystalline stone blocks, you're going to need 2 gold, 2 iron, 2 glowstone. That's standard stuff. 2 boosted Tahara crystal shards, not a problem. An iridescent crystal chunk. We've already talked about iridescent chunks. You can find that in the infusion stand video. Then you're going to need Luminite, 2 Luminite, and 2 Luma Beans. Now, Luminite comes from an ore that you can find just in the overworld. If I go down this hole in the ground right here, and I walk in this direction a little bit, I think it was over here, we can find this stuff. This is Luminite. It's these blocks that are all sparkly with all these different gems, and they look really neat and cool. If I break the blocks around this, you can see that it's just an isolated block. Okay, so as far as I know, you're not going to find veins of this. I mean, you might, but this is just one block. So that's Luminite. Again, you're probably going to want to get this with a fortune pick. Let me go ahead and place down another block of Luminite, and then we'll get rid of the ore. We'll go into survival mode, and we'll break these with a standard pick. And we get 1. I already had 2, now I got 3, so we only got 1 out of that. So now I have 3. We're going to pick this with fortune. Look at that. You get a lot more. So we had 3, now we've got 16. So we got 13 Luminite out of that. So while the recipe only requires 2, you want to have at least some fortune on your pick, so that you know, if you find 1 block of it in the world, you will be able to get enough for this recipe. So I would recommend fortune. Of course, fortune's always great to have anyway, but when you get into high-level ChromatiCraft ores, you really want fortune. And since the Chromatic Enchanter allows you to get fortune 10, you should definitely, I would recommend doing that. Okay? Now, the other one we need are these Luma Beans. Luma Beans come from these things, vibrant pods. Now, I don't remember if I placed these ones or if they spawn naturally on this house because it's logs. But if we go over here, I can show you what some that I definitely did not place that definitely spawned in the world by themselves. And that's these ones over here, vibrant pods. You can see they're growing off of this acacia tree, which has these acacia leaves. The other ones were attached to oak logs, so I don't think that they care very much what trees they're on. But these vibrant pods were there by default. I didn't place these. We can punch it and get some Luma Beans. I already had 2, so we got 4 Luma Beans from punching that vibrant pod. And I don't believe that you're going to be able to... Ooh. Wait. So there's 6 there. Now it's 22. Okay, so you can use a pickaxe or a tool with fortune on it to get more Luma Beans. Very nice. So another reason to have fortune. Like I said, fortune, when you get into high-level ChromatiCraft resources, or at least stuff that you're going to need to make a lot of, fortune's always a good idea. And there's some more over here, actually. I didn't notice these. More vibrant pods. So yeah, these are just growing on trees, apparently. So there you go. Just go around, find some vibrant pods, smack them with some looting so you get a lot. You don't got to come back. I placed this one, so I didn't care to show you that one. But that's how you get Luma Beans, and you're going to need some of those. Okay. Now, that's what you need to actually craft the energy focal point itself. Okay? But we have to craft this Lumen Core first, and this is where it gets really expensive. Depending on how rare that Luma Dust is, or glowing rock, depending on how hard it is to find glowing rock, this could be expensive. Okay, so this is the Lumen Core. Requires you to have a crystal star, which we've talked about before. It's not, terribly expensive, but it is expensive. Requires another star. You got to kill the wither. Requires one of every boosted crystal. Requires some crystal cores. Requires these elemental cores that require all of the elemental stones. So these are a thing that's going to be a little annoying to get your hands on, because you got to go out and you got to find a lot of different resources. But once you have it, you can craft that crystal star and get started on this Lumen Core. Then you'll need purification powder. We've taken a look at that before. It comes from rock flowers, which grow on the underside of blocks. You can find them underground. There's one in this cave over here next to me. We looked at it before in a previous episode. Again, hit it with looting, something with looting on it, so you get more of this. So you don't just get one. If you're looting 10, I would recommend from the Chromatic Enchanter. I keep saying that a lot, but for expensive recipes like this, it really is a good idea. Now, the Radiant Gems. As we can see, we need a ton of these. We need 16, 17, 18, 19. We need 20 Radiant Gems in order to craft this Lumen Core. And each Radiant Gem requires a diamond, so you're going to need at least 20 diamonds, but that's not a problem, really. The problem is that for this appear to craft one at a time. So, since you need to craft this 20 times, you're going to need 40 iridescent crystal chunks, 40 energetic essence. You're going to need 80 focal powder. Okay, that's a lot. But then you're going to need a lot of Luma Dust, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 times 20, which is a lot. So you're going to need a ton of Luma Dust. So I highly recommend, again, use a Fortune 10 pick when you go to get this stuff. Unless there's a way to get even more out of it by silk touching it and throwing it through some sort of extraction thing. But I don't know if you can put glowing rock through a rotary craft extractor or not. Anyway, once you get some Luma Dust, you could always use the item fabrication to make some more. I haven't talked about this yet in this series, but we will talk about item fabrication in the next episode because you've seen it quite a bit. Basically, it allows you, once you have found at least one of something, it allows you to use lumen energy to craft as many of that as you want. So, you know, if you find some Luma Dust, never spend your last of anything, basically, in ChromatiCraft. Never ever use your last of something. Always keep one around so that you can use that fabrication. Okay, so we'll go back to this here, go back here, and take a look at the recipe again. So the Radiant Gem, 1 diamond, 2 energetic essence, 4 focal powder, 2 iridescent chunks, and 20, did I say, Luma Dust. Let's go ahead and put this in the casting complex and go ahead and make it. Okay, so the energetic essence goes in the northwest and southeast corners, while the iridescent crystal chunks go in the southwest and northeast corners. Then we need to take our Luma Dust, and Luma Dust goes in all of the cardinal directions on both sections, and then it goes in all of the diagonal edges, leaving the corners empty. Okay, because that's where the focal powder goes. Boom. And now it'll let us craft a Radiant Gem. Now, to actually make the Radiant Gem, you do need some Lumen Energy, so we'll go back to the recipe. I wish that the Radiant Gem, if I knew what page it was on specifically, I wouldn't have to keep doing that. But the Radiant Gem doesn't require any runes. It does require Nilla. It's all Nilla. 10,000 lumens of Nilla per craft. So that's not terrible. But you're going to need a blue Pylon. I mean, you probably knew you were going to need all of them anyway. And they craft really quick. I recommend doing the stack method. You don't want to have to put all that stuff in each casting basin every time. So just put as much as you need. Put entire stacks of Luma Dust and stuff in all these different, put multiple items in each casting stand so that you can cast more than one at a time. But there we go. We got a Radiant Gem. I'm just going to go and grab the rest of them out of the creative inventory. We'll just grab a stack because we know we need a lot of them. And now we'll go ahead and craft this. So if we open the book up again, well, let's not do that. Can I hit U on Radiant Gems? No, I can't. Because these recipes don't show up in NEI recipes. I knew that, but I don't know why I tried it anyway. So the Lumen Core, we'll get our crystal star, and then it's just 4 purification powder, and then the rest of it is Radiant Gems. So the crystal star is right here. We'll put that in the center. put our 4 purification powder directly around it in the cardinal directions. Then grab our radiant gems and fill every last remaining slot. And now we can cast ourselves a Lumen Core. It does require, again, Pylon energy. So we'll go back in and I'll show you the exact numbers so that you know. Again, this doesn't require any runes. You're going to need 180,000 total lumens, and it's an even 3-way split between Nilla, Catrino, and Kuro, okay? So those are the 3 that you're going to need to craft this. We'll go ahead and do that now. Doesn't take too long. Bang. Now we have a Lumen Core. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and cast the actual thing that we want, which is the set of, apparently 9, energy focal points. Okay, once we have all these runes in place, which I do because I've made these before on this world, we'll go ahead and put this recipe together. It's a little bit complicated, but and hopefully we can get it together without too much fuss. Luma Beans on the left and right, Luminite on the these 2 slots here. Leave that center blank. That's where the iridescent... Oops, darn it! Was that just what I think I did? Ah, I did. My iridescent crystal chunks. Why do I always do stupid stuff like that? Okay, the iridescent crystal chunk goes there. Make sure that's still active. Yes, it is. Then we need some other stuff. We're going to need our crystalline stone. I already forgot the recipe because I'm like that. I can't remember these things for very long. For crystalline stone, obsidian goes at the top. Okay, so obsidian goes right here, right above the casting table, just north, with our Tahara boosted shards on left and right of that. Crystalline stone right like this, if I didn't do that backwards, which of course I did, because why wouldn't I do it backwards? It goes like this. Then we have our gold on the inside, iron on the outside. Gold there, iron there. Gold there, iron there. And then glowstone dust. Just above that. And then purification powder. And we'll be done. So we get our purification powder, we put it left and right. And now we can cast energy focal points. And if you look at this, you'll notice everything's lit up. That's because, in addition to all those runes, the energy focal point requires every lumen energy. It requires a total of 1.5 million 75,000 energy. So that's a lot of lumens. And it's not an even split. It requires mostly Zambaru and Catrino, followed by Kuro, then Nilla, then Tahara, and then it kind of looks like an even spread of everything else. So you're not going to need nearly as much of this stuff over here and Rizova. You're going to Ruskia, but you're going to need a lot more of these other ones. But you will need everything, okay? And it takes a lot, so be prepared for that. All right, now that we have it in there, we can go ahead and cast it. And this is going to make a very awesome show. It takes a very long time to cast this. It's a very slow recipe. And it makes some very awesome fireworks. You can see all the cool little elemental symbols flying into the center. The awesome bursts of light coming up. The musical notes. Sort of sparkles shooting out from the center. Lots of very cool effects happening when casting this very high level item. It's pretty awesome to watch. I don't know exactly how long that was, but you can time it in the video and see. There we go. It's done. And we have 9 energy focal points. We only need 8 of these for each pylon. Oh no, we do need 9. Never mind. We need a ring of 8 and 1 in the center. So we do in fact require all 9. I'm going to go over here to this Zambaru pylon because it's close and it's far away from everything else. And I'll show you how this works. Now, when turbocharging a pylon, you do need a large area. Well, you need to be able to place these, and they need to all have sight to the center. So let's find the... There should be a multi-block setup around here somewhere. Pylon enhancement ring. Yeah, that's it. Yep, this is it. So this is what you have to do in order to turbocharge pylon, okay? You need to have all the power crystals in place, alright? So you have to have done that upgrade first. Then you need to have all 9 of these. 8 go around the thing and 1 in the center. Then you also need to, you can't just put these on the ground, you gotta have little pedestals. And those little pedestals are made from crystalline stone columns and crystal pylon focuses. Okay. Now this is another thing that you don't craft. You have to fabricate it. Crystal pylon focuses are these blocks that you get from pylons. So what you're going to want to do by the time you're doing this, you're going to have item fabrication. Again, I'll talk about item fabrication in the next episode. But you're going to want to steal one of these from a pylon, and then you're going to fabricate new ones so you can replace the original one, and then you're going to fabricate these for 10,000 Kuro, 500 Riskia, and 25,000 Katrino each. Okay, so you don't craft these, you fabricate them. But now we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at this book. You're going to need to use the book or go online and find it. Pylon enhancement ring to see exactly the spacing on this. So here's the spacing for it. They're built right at the level where the columns start on the pylon. It's gonna be, I think there's 3 blocks of space in here. So 1, 2, 3, and then you place the thing. So we'll go ahead and do that. So counting the empty space, 1, 2, 3, it goes right there on these sides. So 1, 2, 3. So on this side we'd have to build up quite a bit. Because we got to have the oh, wait a second, that's actually not right either. Got to go up again, because if we look at this, darn it, I thought I hit the button, or there wasn't a button. The pillar block needs to be right level with this, not the base of the pylon, which is the crystalline stone. So make sure that your column is at this level. Okay. And then our crystal pylon focus. Wait, that's too close. 1, 2, 3, and then we place it. So if this doesn't work, check and make sure you've got it in the right spot. 1, 2, 3, we place right there. That's at the right level, so we just got to put that on top. Over here, 1, 2, 3. We got to get rid of this tree. It's cramping our style. In the way. Alright, tree gone. So 1, 2, and 3. Build it up to right there, put that on top. Now let's take a look and see where the corners go. The corners are, I think, going to do exactly the same thing. We have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think there's 3 blocks diagonal away. We'll see if it looks proper. But I think it's 3 blocks on the diagonal as well. If we look at the book again, from this inner bit, so from here, so 1, 2, 3, and we build it up right there. Yeah, that looks right. Yeah, that's the right shape. So 1, 2, 3, and we build it here. Making sure that it's on the right level, which it is. 1, 2, 3. Build it right there. And then 1, 2, 3. Build it right there. Remember, when I'm counting to 3, I'm counting the empty space before we place the block. So if you're going to count on the block that you place it on, you got to count 4. There's 3 blocks of empty space there. That's where they go. Right? Cool. Now, you want to take some precautions when you're going to do this. The precautions that you have to take are you have to completely disconnect the pylon that you're going to turbocharge from the rest of your network. The reason for that is that if you don't, the turbocharging pylon will send out bursts of energy to your network that will explode. It'll blow up every repeater that it can get to and just destroy. I don't know if it'll blow up a lumen tree or not, but I wouldn't want to test that out. So we're going to knock down this repeater so that this Zambaru pylon is not connected to my network. Nope, it is not. So we should be safe. But these pylons will get blown up most likely, so we'll get to see that, but it won't destroy everything that I've built. Although maybe I should do that so you can see it. Okay, now that you've got this built, place your energy focal points on top of the pillars. You'll know you got it correct when the lines of energy actually connect them together. Because I'm imagining if these are, for instance, we'll put that one back where it goes, but like if this was on the wrong level, see, there's no beam there because it's too short. But there's still no beam there. What have I done? Oh, this one's not far enough away. So there you go. That's how you can tell if you're building it right or wrong, because it doesn't work. There we go. Now we've got the beam. Beam. Okay, so we've got the beams going all the way around, which means we have it built properly. Now we just got to place the last one right in the middle. Okay, and you're going to see... Whew, now we right-click this with the manipulator. Isn't that what I do? Oh, no. No. We have to right-click. Wait. What? Am I missing something here? Make sure there's nothing in the way. Get rid of these leaves. Maybe they're a little too close. Just get rid of that. Keep that back a bit. Get rid of these cacti in here just because, maybe. Just trying to make sure there's nothing else inside the area. There we go. That was it. Ah! And that's what happens. We'll sit back and watch the fireworks. This is one of my favorite things in any Minecraft mod. There we go. So as you can see, it did, I thought I had a repeater right there. I did. So that got blown up. Look at that. So cool. And if we look, at the central core of the pylon, you can probably, maybe you can just make out the fact that there's like a vortex effect around the energy orb that wasn't there before. You can kind of see it swirling in a counterclockwise motion. Really awesome. So this is a turbocharged pylon now. It will regenerate its power extraordinarily quickly. So I can't really make a dent. You can kind of see the orb draining a little bit, but I really can't make a dent in this pylon, just draining it into myself. This is going to provide a ton of power. We're going to go ahead and rebuild some repeaters just to reconnect this to our network, because we did disconnect it. Oh yeah, see, look at that. There's the remains of that repeater that blew up. We got some crystal dust, and we did get the blocks back. So we'll go ahead and rebuild it. I think that should be close enough to the pylon. I think so. Unless that post is in the way. I don't think it is. Anyway, we'll go ahead and rebuild that. We'll see if any Zambaro energy comes over. Which it should. Maybe when the Lumen tree needs some power. But I'm wondering if this little post is in the way of this repeater right here, so we'll go ahead and build like another one over here maybe. Just in case. It says it can see both of them well. Here's the thing, when you look at line of sight like this, it's actually showing you line of sight from the block above it, not from the block itself. So, yeah, I can still reach it. But there we go. We have now turbocharged Zambaro pylon. Just a couple of effects, of course. It speeds it up. The recharge allows you to get a lot more power out of it. If we look at it with our pylon compass, it actually changes the image on the compass. If you look at the other pylons, you'll notice it's just a square box. The ones that have power crystals have the crystals around it. But if we look at this one, around the icon, you can see that those big like energy aura around it, those big purple, you know, this little purple energy aura, that's part of the pylon compass's readout here. So it's letting us know that that is a turbocharged pylon. I've got a turbocharged red pylon over there. As you can see it better. The big red glow around there. So yeah, that's what the pylon compass does, to show you these are turbocharged. So these turbocharged pylons are going to be able to provide you with all the power you could want. I mean, turbocharged pylons are they're end game for a reason. They're extremely powerful. Now, I would not recommend breaking those once you've turbocharged pylon. I'm not going to do it, but I would imagine that Reika might put something in that causes the whole thing to explode. But yeah, so don't do that. Once you've turbocharged the pylon, it's permanent. Don't try and break any of it. I don't know why you would. So anyway, that's it. That's turbocharging, pylon turbocharging. So remember, disconnect the pylon from your pylon network if you don't want to see all of your repeaters go up in flames, although that one didn't. Only this first one, which is interesting. But if it's connected and drawing power, I imagine it would be even worse. So, thanks so much for watching. It's honestly my favorite effect that I've seen in any mod. I mean, I haven't gone to the chroma dimension. We're going to do that later, eventually. So maybe there's some even cooler effects there. I've seen some of it, and it really is cool. But I just love that little sequence. It takes a minute or two to go through. Just so you know, if you're playing on a server or if you're worried about the whole flashing screen thing, the range on that is not global. So just because someone's turbocharging a pylon doesn't mean that people all over the server are going to have their screens turn white. But it does have a pretty large radius, so anyone in this general area is going to experience the white flashes and hear the sound effect. But it's not global, so don't worry. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Like and comment the video if you did enjoy it. Join our Discord if you're interested in chatting. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.